All right, got my 20th here today, and this thing's gonna be getting some stuff done to it. Finally got a little bit of free time, work on my own car, but so today, gonna be relocating the battery, gonna be cleaning up the engine bay a little bit. I'm gonna be relocating that to the trunk. Probably gonna put it in the spare tire well underneath here. Just put it in there. Don't have my spare tire obviously, but so this is like the general stuff you're gonna need if you are doing this thing, doing the same thing as me. Just a battery hold down bracket. Just got this cheap on Amazon, and obviously you're gonna need a lot of wire, and I got a breaker right here, just cheap breaker off Amazon as well. I got a 300 amp. Most people I think get 150 amp, just because I don't know if I'm gonna put subs in here and stuff like that yet, so I'd rather have higher amperage breaker so it doesn't trip when I do put subs in. Also, this is a distribution block, I think is what they call it. So this is actually out of a E36 BMW, so kind of funny. I'm gonna have BMW parts in this thing now, but I got this at a junkyard for really like $3, and I think it'll work perfect. So I'll probably end up mounting it somewhere over here so I get this thing out of the way, make my own intake for it. And I also need to go buy battery terminals. All right, so that basically covers like general stuff you need. Obviously you're gonna need lugs to crimp everything, all the wires and stuff. But yeah, first thing I'm probably gonna do is just go ahead, remove the actual battery, get the battery tray out of the way, and I guess I'll probably mount that in the back, figure out how I'm gonna do that first, and then from there I'm gonna start figuring out the wiring, because that's definitely gonna take a while. It's not gonna be fun. All right, so I got the battery out. It's pretty simple, obviously. Just undo two 10 millimeters, and now I'm gonna pull out the battery tray. All right, so we got the battery tray out. Pretty simple, just 4 10 mils out the ground wire. So it goes onto the chassis, and then it splits off onto the starter. So what I'm probably just gonna do for now is either I'm just gonna tuck this out of the way, limited on time today, but or just remake that strap so it goes from here to the starter and that's it. Shouldn't be that hard to do, and I do have the wire and all that. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna just start figuring out how to mount this into the trunk, and then go from there. All right, so I'm probably just gonna put the battery here. My future plan with this is an open battery, so it does have the vent I'm gonna have to put in, but eventually, once I get a closed battery, I'm gonna get a little tiny battery, and I'm going to, once I do amps and all that, get rid of this factory amp and put it in here so you don't even know it's there, and then it'll be out of the way. But for now, I'm just gonna do this. So I just got the little battery hold down bracket, centered this up in the spare tire compartment, and I'm just gonna go ahead and drill holes right through it, and then probably I'm gonna have to bend these so they're flat at a 90 instead of coming up, and then I'll just run the rod up through the bottom to the top and tighten this thing down onto that, and it should be good. Then start figuring out how I'm gonna route this cable, where I'm gonna put the breaker. Probably end up putting the breaker somewhere like right here, somewhere close that way. And the other nice thing about this breaker is if I ever have to do an alternator or starter or something on the car where I gotta disconnect the battery, I actually won't have to disconnect the battery anymore. I simply just gotta flip this or click the red button, and technically battery is then disconnected. So makes it a little bit simpler that way, I guess. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, drill some holes, and get this thing mounted on. All right, so as you can see, got the battery bracket down. We got drilled out holes, put it in. I did have to cut the bolt a little bit since it's stuck up another like 3 inches, but not a big deal. This thing is not going anywhere. It's pretty solid. That was probably the easiest part of this whole thing though. And now I'm gonna start probably pulling apart the interior so I can route the 0 gauge power wire. And before I do that, I'm gonna have to go buy battery terminals, and hopefully they have one that will fit this. All right, so I just drove around looking for lugs or ring terminals, whatever you want to call them, for 1/0 gauge wire, and no one has any. Went to a few electrical supply places, and for whatever reason, no one carries them. So I did order some on Amazon. They're gonna come in tomorrow, but for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and start running this wire. But I did pick up some battery terminals at least, and those should work. Just gonna put a ring terminal on this, spin it, tighten it down, should work. But I guess I'm gonna start pulling off the interior, pulling it apart and running this wire. All right, so I'm gonna start from the front and then work my way back with the wire. And most common spot, I've ran wires through here before, is that little grommet back there. It is kind of an annoying spot, but that's the easiest place to go ahead and run wire. This is a big wire, so hopefully it fits. But just gonna take this long flathead screwdriver, poke a hole, and then once I got a hole, I'm gonna pull it out, electrical tape it to this wire, and hopefully I can force it through. And once it's on the other side in the car, I should be able to just grab it, pull it through, and hopefully it goes that easy. All right, so got the wire in. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, so what I ended up doing was making the hole a little bigger with this bigger flathead, and then attach the electrical tape to the smaller flathead with the wire and push it through, and it went right through, so it wasn't too bad. And see, came out from up there, and now I'm just gonna route it. So obviously it's not here, but I'm gonna pull this plastic trim piece off and then pull this off and then slowly work my way to the back. All right, so we pulled the wire pretty much all the way through. Just went ahead and left a good amount on the end because my plan is to put this right here, and basically that wire will go onto that. So definitely have more than enough in case I mess up. And yeah, so have it through the car now. And basically what I'm doing is, you can see, comes in through there, and just putting it through the side panel, and then it's in there, you can see. And then went ahead and removed the back seat. Super easy to do. Just push these pieces in on each side after you lift the seat up from the front, and it just comes right out of these little holes. And took all the clips out for the side panel for the back. As you can see, pretty much pull it out, seat down. And yeah, so I'm just gonna start wiring, or putting the wire through here now, and then should be able to get it up the back to like right here, pull all this apart. Should be pretty simple. Might even just be able to slide it under there and then have it come over to the battery. So it's really not too bad. The worst part's getting it through that little grommet, but once you do that, it's not bad. All right, so as you can see, got all the trim pieces in. For the most part, fits pretty flush. Now I'm just gonna go ahead, push it through here and out through the back. All right, so got the panel back on. I had to pull this off, and I also moved this out of the way. I just undid the 2 screws right here, pulled this off, and then this kind of moves up out of the way. And I got it all back together now. It's a little dirty, definitely get it clean back here. But got the cable ran to the back now, and that is all done. So now it's pretty much just the easy stuff. I just gotta wait till tomorrow to get those crimps or lugs, ring terminals, whatever people call them. But so yeah, we got it all wired now. Can't even tell. Looks like it's supposed to be like that, so not bad. Now I'm gonna go ahead, put the seat back together and whatnot, and then see you guys tomorrow. All right, next day out now. Still waiting for those terminals to come in, or not terminals, but the I guess ring terminal lug. But went ahead and I cut this bracket right here because I'm gonna put the distribution box. I put it right there, and this bracket wasn't long enough, is hitting up against right here. So just cut that out a little bit, kind of nicked the side, but you won't see that at least. But now you can see it lines up, and I think it'll look all right there eventually. I might move it somewhere else, but for now, I'm just gonna put it there. Eventually I might put it back here where this relay box used to be, and that way it's kind of out of the way more. But for now, I'm just gonna put it right here. I don't think it looks too bad like that. Doesn't look the best, but now I'm just gonna go ahead and probably just screw this breaker in down here in the spare tire compartment. Probably just gonna put it like somewhere like right here. Thinking just like right here, or maybe down here. Not sure yet, doesn't really matter, it can go anywhere. And I can at least put the wires in here, since these are just you just tighten the bolt onto the wire. I don't need any crimps or anything like that to do those. And yeah, I'm gonna do that, and hopefully by then I will get those ring terminals in. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna go ahead and connect the wire that goes into like the fuse box to the distribution block. And so this was originally connected on this little 10mm on the battery terminal, but now I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right there, bolt it down, and that should be all set. I'm not sure what this is going on here. I'm guessing obviously the wire's been replaced, and then this side's the normal factory one. So I'm gonna take a guess and say whoever had this car before me probably just twisted the wires together, put electrical tape over it, which is definitely not the right way to do it. But I don't have any wire this size, so I might try and go and find some and fix this, because this is pretty ghetto and looks pretty dumb too. Just never noticed it because this was under the battery, so didn't really look at it, but don't really like that. Right now I'm just gonna leave it like that and bolt this right there, and then that'll be done. And then I also have to run a wire. So this big wire goes to the starter right here, pretty simple. I just gotta wait till my ring terminals come in so I can make a new wire, make this come up to here, and I'll put it on probably this one right here. That way they both come out the bottom and not like sticking out the side there, whatnot. And then for the main power wire from the battery, I'm gonna have it go like that. Obviously I'm gonna push this out of the way so you don't see all this extra wire, but I put it like that. Hopefully it looks clean. Not really a fan of how that looks right there right now, so I probably will end up moving the spot of it sometime, but for now I'm just gonna keep it there. All right, got the breaker all set up now. Got wire going out to the front of the car, and I got this wire that's gonna go to the battery. Haven't cut it yet just because I don't want to cut it too short, but should be pretty simple. Might just have it wrap like that, just like that, should work. Cut it right there, and then finally crimp all these connections together and finish up in the front, and this thing will be all set hopefully. All right, so crimps, ring terminals finally came in. Also comes a little bit of heat shrink, and I also went ahead and picked up a ground strap, because that way you can get rid of the battery terminal and all that crap. So it's gonna go from this ground spot on the body onto the transmission, which has a ground spot right there, and that'll make it look a little cleaner than me just cutting this and leaving it. So got this now, and also I already went ahead and did my first one, put the heat shrink on there, crimped it, and that one is all set. And I'm just using a hydraulic crimp. Makes it way easier when you're dealing with big wire like this to crimp those. So it's not going anywhere. And I already went ahead and pre-cut the ground out, and I think I'm just gonna put it on this C bolt, and then just pretty much should just straight to the battery, just like that. Pretty simple. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then the rear is pretty much done after I get that one done, so not bad. All right, so got the ground cable wired in. It's all finished in the back. And I also got the strap right here put on. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but the last part I got to do is route a wire from the starter to one of these connections, and I think we're gonna be done. All right, so just went ahead and got the front all done. You can see, got that wire ran all the way over here, and we got it coming up to right there. Then we got the main power wire running from the battery to right there. Now we can go ahead and put this on as well, and just like that. And then go ahead, flip that on, and this is what it's gonna look like. So without the battery, still gonna put the air filter on. So right now, it does look kind of weird. I gotta clean this up too, because it's pretty dirty. But so my plan is to make a custom intake. I'm gonna TIG weld a stainless intake on this thing. That'll probably be the next video. I was gonna do the coolant ball delete and the power steering reservoir relocation in this video, but way on parts, so I'm just gonna come out with this video for now and do those in a later one. But the next video you see, probably gonna be doing the intake on it. That way I can fill this area up a little bit better. That way it's not just bare until eventually I am gonna tuck all these wires and get them out of the way, and then it'll look clean once this is all painted. But right now, I'm not really a fan of it, and I think I am gonna move that distribution box at some point, because I don't really like how it looks right there. Kind of want it to be like a little bit more hidden, but for now it's not bad. So that'll be something to keep in mind, but overall I don't think it looks too bad. Definitely makes it look a lot more empty without that big battery there. And then show you guys the back. All right, so under the back, doesn't look too bad. Obviously nothing fancy, but does the job. And now I just gotta see if this thing starts. So gotta flip the breaker on too. Actually, might as well do that now. So have it flipped it off. I'm gonna flip it on and see if it does anything. All right, see if this thing starts. All right, so bad news. Kind of dumb for this, but I didn't realize that this power wire, I thought these all connected to each other. They actually don't. So this one connects to this bolt. That's a 1L, and then these three bottom ones are separate. So basically right now is what's happening is basically there's no power going to the relay or the fuse box in the starter, so I have no power to the car. So basically what you gotta do is run a jumper wire, I'm assuming. So I'm gonna have to do, run a jumper wire from here to this one, because that makes these ones connected. And so yeah, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do about that, because this wire's a little big to jump it across like that, but we'll see. All right, so just using the multimeter, and I might be wrong, so I think it's these three terminals or connections, those are all one, and then these two on the side are not connected to those three. So what I'm gonna do is I can pretty much just run this fuse box wire into that terminal, and I believe it should work. I'm gonna try it right now and let you guys know. All right, so as you can see, I got it right there now, and I just turned the power on and it seems to be working. So I'm gonna see if this thing starts. Now, if you're doing this, make sure you do just go around and double check everything. Make sure the wires aren't getting too hot, nothing like that, which they all feel good. They don't feel super hot, especially the starter wire, because that one draws a lot. Just make sure they all seem fine, which they do. And I think this thing is all set. All right, so that's gonna wrap it up for the battery relocation on the MK4 GTI. Next video, I'm gonna be building an intake, because right now it looks kind of bare in this area, especially how I haven't tucked any of these wires yet. So it actually looks more of a mess now than it did with the battery in, 'cause you can see all this stuff now. So when I make an intake, I'm gonna have a come out like a little 90, have the air filter right here, so cover that up a little till I end up shaving this bay one day and tucking everything. Also not a fan how this looks right now. I probably will end up changing that. I'm gonna put the relay box somewhere, or fuse box, keep calling it a relay box, but put this somewhere out of the way so you can't see it, and have this wire come from the back, kind of like this power wire. That way it's not as bad. Or I might just move this whole distribution block over here. That way you don't see any of it at all, and I think that'll make it look way better, because right now it looks kind of dumb right there, I think. But just figured I'd show you guys, and stay tuned. I have a bunch of videos coming out on, well, actually this one right here. Not sure if this one will be out before this one, but a little sneak peek if this one isn't out yet. Mark's cylinder head is off because this thing can't seem to stay together. But so yeah, stay tuned for all that stuff. Like I said, next video on this car is going to be the intake. I'm going to build one, and then probably coolant ball delete, steering reservoir, relocation, and a few other things. Peace.